everybody, it's Bobby. Welcome back to the Working Man's Whiskey. Today we're going to talk about Old Crow. This guy here, it's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. The reason I have these other bottles up here, Old Overholt and Old Granddad, which we've already reviewed, is these three are three of the older whiskeys in the United States, still going today. They're all owned by Beam now, and they're marketed together as the Olds. You know, Old Crow, Old Overholt, Old Granddad. Old Crow been around since 1835. Old Overholt since 1810, and Old Granddad since 1882. Wanted to talk about Old Crow today because I feel like it tends to get lost, on the bottom shelf. It's a cheap whiskey. It is. It's to me, a very good bottom shelf whiskey. A lot of people dismiss it as swill. Won't even give it a shot. Won't even try it. They just see it there on the bottom shelf, and probably see that it looks old and old-fashioned label. And people won't give it the time of day, but that's why I want to talk about it, because it's definitely a whiskey that I think should get more credit, because it's a very good bargain whiskey. Got this bottle here for under $10, about $8. It was, I think, $8.99. So probably just a shade under $10 with tax. So little background on Old Crow. It was the favorite whiskey of Ulysses S. Grant. It was also enjoyed by Mark Twain. So kind of shows you how old the whiskey is. It was one of those whiskeys there in the heyday of the Old West, which I always find pretty cool. So without further ado, I guess we'll give it a pour. By the way, it's named for Dr. James Crow, who was a medical doctor back in the 1800s, the 1830s. Started distilling whiskey. I think he started making medicinal whiskey, and then moved on from there. Saw that he had an opportunity to market the stuff for drinking, and it's been around ever since. So it's a little bit of background on it. Let's take a look at the color here. So it's a light color. I believe Old Crow is it's aged for 3 years. One more thing, it is, like I said, owned by Beam now, and Old Crow, unfortunately, I believe the original mash bill was lost when Dr. Crow died, and they tried to recreate it. For years, they said that something went wrong with the mash. I guess the measurements were off and all that, so kind of gave the whiskey a little bit of a funny taste, but they were able to, I guess, recover as best they could what the original stuff was supposed to taste like. Not all whiskey was very good back in the day, but this was considered one of the better whiskeys from way back. So anyway, it's as I said, a 3-year-old product from Jim Beam. It's actually, from what I've gathered, it's pretty much got the same mash bill as Jim Beam White Label. It might be just a little bit different, but that's one of the reasons it's I guess considered a bottom shelf whiskey. Is it's a young whiskey. It's hasn't had time to build up as much character as some of other Jim Beam's products. The White Label, and then you got they have Bakers and Bookers and just a bunch of different ones. Bookers to me is as I've said before, it's one of the top whiskeys I've had. But Old Crow, for what it is, I mean, you really have trouble beating it. It's one of the better bottom shelf whiskeys, I think, that are available for under $10. So anyway, back to the color. Sorry about that, guys. It's a light amber, kind of it's got like an orangey yellow color to it. It's not a bad color for such a young whiskey. I mean, it's only been in the barrel for 36 months, so 3 years. So anyway, it's got a little bit of that I guess, oak char in there. So let's give it a nose. So with this, right away, you get a sweet corn smell to it, a little bit of caramel or toffee, a little bit of oak in there, maybe a little citrus thing going on, like a little bit of lemon peel in there, and I mean, that's it. I mean, it's a young whiskey, as I keep on saying. So yeah, it's not going to have as much character as some of the others, but decent nose anyway. Let's give it a sip. So it's a nice light whiskey. There's nothing too too big about it. It's not a full-bodied whiskey, but at the same time, there's nothing bad about it. There's nothing too offensive at all about it. It's just a nice light whiskey that I can just sit back and sip this. Have a conversation with somebody and sip this for a few hours at a time, and it'd be a fine whiskey to just socialize with, or if you want to mix it. Some people like to mix. I know with ginger ale, you could probably mix it with Coke. From my experience, I'm not a big mixed drink guy. I like to drink my whiskey straight, but ginger ale is usually the way to go with Old Crow. Different whiskeys have, kind of, I mean, Jack, Coke goes well with Jack, but it's a different taste in whiskey than Old Crow, and they each have their own, their own things that they go well with, and this one, something light, just go try ginger ale, maybe try some 7-Up, squeeze a little bit of lemon in there. You can do anything with this. So for the price, for the just for what it is, you can't go wrong with Old Crow. Go to your store; they have it just about anywhere I can, think of. Any grocery store, any liquor store. Go out and buy a bottle of Old Crow, and you're not going to hurt your wallet. Definitely a good budget whiskey. So till next time, cheers.